there are only a few new people here. But for the new people, if you have, are they working? Is it working? Yeah, let's see. Yeah. Working? Yeah. Yeah. Let me see. Let's see. Oh, there. Down. Yeah, no. Yeah. Try that. Let's see. Yeah? Okay. Nice. Yeah. There. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Everybody, the button goes down all the way. Yeah. 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 And let me see. Let's see. Can you give me some voice? Oh, yeah. There. Yeah. You know, if everybody spoke and understood French, it would be much better. You know, and I'm trying to learn French. Not so easy. Yeah. Yeah. If you have come here by yourself and you're new, I'm going to ask that you ask someone, because most people here are not new. Most people have been coming for years and they know what's going on. So it would be good for you to ask to help you during the fire dance how to stay with it and how to look at it. Because for most new people, it's very difficult. For most new people, the fire dance is very difficult. For most new people, it brings up too much fear. A lot of people get very scared of the dance. A lot of people do. Some people run out. They can't take it. Some people, they just have a hard time with their minds dealing with it. Some people, it's like home. For some people, it's like, this is home. So it all depends on your mentality and your temperament, how to handle the fire dance. Because in the Western world, everybody is raised to participate, whether you are in the audience or you are on stage. Everybody is raised to be entertained. And most people, when they come to something like this, they expect to be entertained. And what is entertainment? And whether you go to a ballet, an opera, or whether you go to a movie, it's entertainment. It's entertainment. And especially once you pay for it, you're paying your French franc to be entertained, to eat up a few more hours out of your day, to, let's say, help let the day go by a lot easier, maybe to see something that you had not seen before. But this is not entertainment. Even though you had paid for it, this is not entertainment. And this is the problem. with the new people. And because it is not entertainment, and then you come and witness a fire dance. For a fire dance is not entertainment, it's a real dance. And being that the Western mind is so used to observing everything choreographed, everything, there's a reason why they did this, there's a reason why they did this, there's a reason why they turned around. And this dance is not choreographed. It's a dance of spontaneity. And most people are not used to that. The only time people find themselves somewhat in spontaneity is either when they find themselves dancing freely dancing, or they're making love, or somehow, somewhere in their life during the day, somehow spontaneity is there. But usually by the time we reach the age of 12 to the age of 16, spontaneity has pretty well left our bodies. And everything becomes organized, becomes scrutinized, becomes programmed. Ulterior motives start to take place. And because when that Western brain, that Western witness watching the dance, they're not used to it, that means there's no control. And this is what scares the mind. This is what scares the nervous system. This is what scares the personality. This is what induces too much fear. There's no control. The Western people have been raised to control everything as much as possible. Everything to what's on stage, behind the wheel of your automobile, to control the hellos of a phone call, the handshake. Everything is pretty well controlled, and that's what makes people feel comfortable. And it's good, and it's healthy. For this is a very healthy way for any civilization to be. But very funny thing, we try to control our hearts. We try to control our thoughts. We try to control our children. We try to control ourselves. We try to control our fears. We try to control our love. We try to control our loved ones. We try to control our fingers. We try to control our dreams. We try to control ourselves so we can exist one more day. We try to control our breath. We even try to control somewhat our atmospheres. We try to control the rivers and the streams. And yet the human being, it is found out that we can only control so much before we realize it is out of our hands. And once it passes that bridge, then human beings, they give it all kinds of names. It is the mystery. It is the spirit that is on the other side of the bridge. They give it all names, many, many names of God, angels, and then in time they control everything on the other side of the bridge. So they can put themselves behind the wheel of a car, so everything is controllable on both sides of the bridge. And they paint the other side with Catholicism, Protestantism, Buddhism, shamanism, Hinduism. And who has the real paint? Who has the real brushes? And who draws correctly for what it is? These are the questions the student of life should ask. And when the driver of the car feels very confident and self-secure and very proud that they know what street, what highway, what autobahn, what freeway they are in, and they know what direction, whether it is north or south, and they know how many kilometers they have traveled, and they can apply the brake anytime they wish. They can press down on the gas pedal as much as they wish. They can open up the car windows, even halfway, if you wish. You can turn on the radio very loud or very quiet if you wish. You can even change the stations if you wish. You can even sip a cup of coffee if you wish. And sometimes, even with your handies, make a phone call, which is a little dangerous in a car, if you wish. But with a heart attack, where is the control? When the time is up, where is the control? When the feelings of a loved one that you love so much, where is the control? When the tenderness arises, where is the control? When anger comes up, then where is the control? When old age finally reaches its pinnacle and there's no more life left, then where is the control? But as it is for a young one, the spontaneity is normal and there's no control. For every moment and every day, for every piece of land, whether it be a centimeter or 10,000 kilometers worth of land, it is nothing but opportunity. Spontaneity from moment to moment with no effort and no thinking, no putting oneself behind a wheel. Be proud of your life. Learn to be very, very proud of your life. And yet understand pride could only take you so high, could only take you so far above. Before those very tender muscles around your neck that holds up that very heavy head, holds up bone, brain tissue, many thoughts, many dreams, many pictures, many experiences, some very heavy and some extremely light. But yet somehow, very relaxedly, the muscles are holding up that very big universe in your head. And when you see that pride can only go so far, and then, if you're fortunate enough, if you're caring enough, you slowly relax the muscles so the head bows down, somehow in a humble motion, somehow in a humble posture. You don't have to look what is ahead. You don't have to look at the road signs. You don't have to look at the landscape. For somehow there's a knowingness deep inside all human beings that life itself is extremely intelligent. It knows what it is doing. The land was there before you were conceived, and the land will be there long after you leave. And somehow there's a feeling of immensity and goodness in this, that by bowing down the head and with the eyes closed, but if you wish to look at your shoes, it's okay. For your heart knows, your flesh knows, your organs knows. They were well designed, not just by intelligence, but with a divine love that gave the little ones, the teenagers, that gave the adolescents, that gave the middle age and gave the old age a big playground to play in if they wish. You can fight if you wish, you can kill if you wish, you can build if you wish, you can destroy if you wish. You can read if you wish, you can dream if you wish, you can plant if you wish. A very big playground, a very big sandbox it is. Know what belongs to this earth, and know what belongs above. And it is then that your heart and your mind can be at peace with each other, that the bridge is no longer needed. For the mind has been absorbed by the heart being absorbed by the mind. And finally, they see as one mind, as one eye, as one heartbeat, as one dream, as one act, and not the left hand hiding from the right hand, and not the left brain manipulating the right brain, but they are one. You may have 2 feet, you may have 2 hands, you may have 2 eyes, and you may have 2 shoulders, you may have 2 hips, you may have 2 lungs, you may have 2 kidneys, you may have 2 knees, you may have 2 feet, you may have a left side and a right side. But it is the ignorance itself, it is the unnecessary fear itself that keeps the war, that keeps the fight between the 2 sides active and nourished. Women fighting men, countries fighting other countries, low intelligence fighting high intelligence, customs fighting other customs and traditions. Do not fight with yourself. Do not fight with your neighbors. Do not fight with other countries. But learn to understand. But learn to understand. And in time, peace will come between your left side and right side. And your day will no longer be night, and your night will no longer be day. But to do this, you cannot do it as your French teachers has taught you. You cannot do it as your French parents has taught you. You cannot even do this as German, American Indian, not even Russian, not even African, not Vietnamese, not Chinese, not even Japanese. Traditions and customs, they belong to the land and to time. But to be a human being, a real human being, not just of a particular land and time, but a human being of a continent and a human being of the third planet from the sun, you have to be more than French, more than Jewish, more than Catholic, more than Indian, more than Russian, more than Angolan, more than Gypsy. And it is but a choice. For the contemplation is necessary in the beginning. It is but a choice. It is but a choice. The fire dance is a very quiet dance. It's very quiet. The fire dance is a very soft dance. It's very soft. It is very soft. And yet, when you dance, you breathe hard and you dance hard. The fire dance, you do not let yourself, do not attempt to go into a trance. To put the mind, to put your brain in a trance, it is not healthy. Do you tell your children to go into a trance? People do it because they are bored with their lives. They are bored with their own lives. You do not teach your children to go into trance. They are too full of life. It is not necessary whatsoever. To wake up in this world, you have to keep your eyes open and be more present, more alert, more conscientious of the person next to you, more respectful and extremely considerate. Even though your legs are moving fast, even though your lungs are pumping very fast, even though your heart is racing very fast, you stay more present while you're dancing. And if you find yourself with fear, don't let fear be your guide. Let courage be your guide. And be steady. Be very steady until the storm of fear goes away. For fear is nothing more than finding yourself no longer behind the wheel of your own car, somewhere out in the desert, somewhere in the middle of an ocean, somewhere in outer space. No more oxygen to breathe, no more earth to stand on, no more boat to keep you afloat, no city lights, no city buildings, nothing familiar. But where do you think you came from before you were conceived? And where do you think you will go after you pass away, when the land is taken from you then? Life is a paradox. It is a paradox of spaciousness and very confined space. Life is a paradox of action and peace. Life is a paradox of matter and spirit. Life is a paradox to speak and then yet not to speak and yet to know, and yet to speak very, very loud. So do not let fear be your God. Let courage be your strength, and stand fast. It takes time to know a friend. It takes time to know a new country. It takes courage to stay there and get to know it. As it is with this fire dance. Keep your comments quiet. Do not let your comments destroy what you see. For most of your comments, if you are new, are going to be totally wrong. Totally wrong. You will not know. For it takes time to know anything. Look how long it took your bones to know what it is to see through the eyes of a 7-year-old. Can a 1-year-old see through the eyes of a 7-year-old? Is it right for a 2-year-old to make comments that they know what it is, why a 7-year-old does what they do? It took a long time for you to finally reach 16. A very long time. It took a very long time for you to reach the age of 50. A very long time. As it will, it takes a long time to know this fire dance. It takes time. So be wise with your life and don't be foolish. Give it time to know. And let the dance teach you. Let the dance teach you. Let the dance teach you. Yo get the ne I ain't in you. You ne get the ne I ain't in you. You ne get the ne I ain't in you. Need to get the heart peace to your minds. Peace to your hearts. Peace. 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 Nikitiki na khane shine ho niki ha tete. Open up your eyes. Let's dance. I wish I could get the people in the back to come closer. You can give me my binoculars. Can I have my binoculars? Or even the small ones, they're real, the opera. Then I can say I've been in an opera. I've never been to an opera. Boring. But one day, I'm going to have to go. But you know how Americans are. I'll take my portable TV with me. You know, it's kind of hard to see you back there, but oh, look at this. Very nice. Ooh, you got a pimple. So revealing. Oh, very nice, very nice. Maybe can you come in a little bit? Let's take, is a tree in the way? Oh, I'll stand here, then it's okay. Yeah. Bonding with nature? Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's your life story. Hello. There is this is hard. In the 11 years that these teachings that I've been coming to Europe for 11 years, I have never initiated not one person. I have not initiated anybody at all in all the 11 years. Not one. But a lot of people claim I do. There are a lot of people that claim that I have. Not working? Let me see. No? Yeah, it works. Yeah. Yeah, you got to keep talking. Let the people know that you're alive. Yeah, just don't stop. Yeah. And you know, it's I got a story that a person 10 years ago came to one of the seminars and claimed that I initiated this person, and it's not true. I do not initiate people. Once the initiation process starts to take place, what you start to have is, and what you start to create is an organization, a club, a place to belong. Then you have laws, customs, traditions start, a club, in essence. Basically, that's what people do with it. And there are enough clubs in the world already. There really are. There's enough out there. We have lots of religions, and we have the Kiwanis, and we have there are a lot of good clubs out there, wonderful clubs. And all clubs basically have initially a good beginning, and there's a good intent to start these clubs. But the problem is that once you have 2 sticks, you're in trouble. Once you have 2 marbles, you're in trouble. Once you have 2 atoms, you're in trouble. Once you have 2 human beings, you're in trouble. It is best, if you're going to start a club, but don't invite anybody else. And then the club stays the same. And if you want to change things, you can change things. But once you have another person into the club, and then another, and then another, and then another, and then another. Wow. And I can understand why many ancient religions always kept out women from the big boys club. And I can remember when I was a teenager, 10, 12 years old, and me and my friends, we had a club. It was a boys' club. And we had neighbor girls who liked some of us, and they wanted to join the club, and we said, no girls. We were so proud that we could keep out the girls, until we wanted to kiss them. So there's always motive going on, taking place here. But the big boys' club, it's rough enough having 2 men, and then 3 men, and then 4 men, but once you add the other sex, you're going to have trouble, because we all know what happens in most relationships. There's a difference of opinion, especially between the sexes, and it happens a lot with men too, regardless. And this is the reason why I don't initiate anybody. I don't want to start any club, no club whatsoever. I trust life, I trust your bones, I trust your Creator, I trust the purpose of your birth than most people trust themselves. Because you see, actually, I cannot dream for you, I cannot eat for you, I cannot even die for you. I cannot look through your eyes for you, I cannot pick up the spoon with your hand for you, I cannot hear for you. So I am respecting, by knowing this, I respect this. I respect this as you as an individual. And in time, what growing up is really all about, in time, what maturity is really all about, is realizing whether you have been in a desert for 40 days or 4 minutes, or whether you are 7 years old or whether you are 87 years old. that somewhere in your life, somewhere in your time, that you can look down, that you can bend your own head, using those muscles in your neck, what they are designed for, and they are designed for you to bend that head, to look down at your feet and realize they are your feet. They're no one else's but your feet. Your responsibility. They're your thoughts. They're your words. They're your feet. And when we stop blaming it on everybody else, because basically, people, the reality that most human beings will not look at is that the last vestitude, the last valley, the last desert, the last mountain, the last storm, the last quietness, the last word, the last thought, the last feeling, the last war, even the last peace. That when that sentient being has walked enough, and very oddly, very quietly, somehow a little surprised and somehow not surprised. And somehow there's a realization, a bubble emerging from the bottom of your spine, and deep down inside, somehow a very quiet but very powerful bubble has been released. It's kind of like a snake, kind of like a monster, kind of like a dragon inside this bubble that you know is going to cause you lots of problems. And yet somehow it could be the greatest gift, the greatest present that you have received. And yet this bubble is more real than you can ever dream of. And as this bubble rises to the surface, to the very top of your head, very quietly you turn around, and after all those miles, kilometers that you have walked, you turn around and you look at your own footprints, embedded in the snow, embedded in the earth, embedded in the sand, and even the ripples of the water that you have walked over. Your footprints. You walked it. You walked it. You walked it. You walked it. The realization of being alone. That is the last stage to realize. Being totally alone, actually. No two planets can kiss. They are repelled by gravity, as it is with even any human beings deeply in love. A very soft, tender kiss, and in time they are repelled by circumstances and events that no two people can stay together. And whether it be a phone call, hunger, an explosion outside, wanting to read a book, a need to go for a walk, I need to sleep, to be repelled, pulled away. But how we dance around, not just circumstances, but how we dance and dodge in and out. We touch and hold, we walk away, and sometimes we run as fast as we can. And yet there is something wonderful walking away, not just from your parents, but from your children, from your husband, from your wife. And yet there's a beautiful thing walking back, running back to your children, to your grandparents, to your wife, to your husband, to your lover. And what is this to come and go? What is this to dodge in and out? The paradox of life, of night and day, right and wrong, hunger and fullness, wanting and not wanting, understanding and then forgetting. What is this? To be born and to have the universe with no impulse of my own to get my bones to grow and to grow towards the sky, centimeter by centimeter, without even knowing it. And then miraculously, with old age, start to shrink. Like a breath, an inhale and an exhale. Like a blink. I see you, and now I don't. Pay attention to your own feet. Do not fear what it is to be alone. It is a reality. In order to really invite wisdom, and finally to invite real understanding, one has to embrace the reality of really being alone, regardless of how many children you have and how many friends you may have. The only real bonding where there is no separation is that between you and your Creator, the real lover of life. To understand these teachings, you really cannot understand them through your mind. And if you use your logic and reason to understand these teachings, you will find yourself dodging in and out of darkness and light and not knowing where that light switch is. For to absorb and to be with these teachings, it is only through your own heart. For this is the language of your heart. This is the language, not just the heart of human beings, but the heart of animals and fishes and birds. It is the heart of insects. It is the heart of the sky. It is the heart of water and earth. It is the heart of air. And it is the heart of fire. Your logic and reason can only understand what your culture has taught you to understand. And whether it be a new thought or a new idea, it is designed to problem solve, to invent, to recreate whatever it is that culture and its language and its words and its dictionaries and its encyclopedias have addressed. The heart, it is just not a vibration. For the heart is really creativity in motion. And that motion, whether it be still or active, it encompasses both simultaneously, effortlessly. For creation never stops. And if creation never stops, that means that you actually never stop too. And if you can find yourself existing in the year 2001, and if you just really think about it, out of 20 billion years, to find yourself existing, whether that age be 9 days or 90 years, it is only but a nanosecond, a millionth of a second of existence out of 20 billion years. How did you do that? 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 How? And for the sake of your culture, and for the sake of humanity, somehow you start the clock, you start the calendar, for reference sake, to communicate for reference sake only. You started somewhere along the line, and you ended up today, 2001. But realistically, it is 20 billion some odd years, actually. But really just too many zeros to contend with. Let's simplify it for the sake of not adding all those zeros. How did you do that? And somehow you could say, realistically, it's a miracle. to find yourself in existence in a millionth of a second out of 20 billion years. And somehow, if one miracle can happen, then another, and 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 then another can happen. Creation in motion, in stillness or in silence. Or if you can find yourself existing in the year 2001, and there's so many zeros to count, you can pretty well count that you can exist, that you will exist in some place and in some time. Another miracle, another miracle, another miracle, another miracle, another miracle. To penetrate the veils of complacency, to penetrate the veils of hurt and disappointment, to penetrate the veils of your hatred and anger, to penetrate the veils of your bitterment and your ignorance. It is not a prayer, it is not a mantra, it is not suffering. They're only nothing but hope. And yet, very simply, what intelligence you have, what awareness you may have, very quietly looking into a mirror, very quietly getting the reflections off your own life. And just a little common sense. But somehow, for so many tens and thousands of years, so many human beings looked up and wondered what the birds see and what it would be like to see from above. For so many tens and thousands of years, so many people had dreamt, what would it be to be in the clouds? And not just see the property or the land or the country, but to see this whole world. For so many tens and thousands of years, human beings have wished and wanted so much to be a bird and fly, to be free. And now we just don't have paper, but metal. We have jets, propellers, we even have rocket ships. We have pictures, real life pictures, but so very few human beings. Now that they can see as a bird sees, and now they can fly as a bird flies, it is still the heaviness of their hurt and disappointment that keeps them down and prevents them You could say, like almost being free. You see, one day, when your last breath is leaving your lungs, and it is time for you to pass away, you have to let go of all the heaviness and weight as much as possible in order for you to rise up like smoke. And one day you will see and fly as a bird, whether you like it or not. And if that is so, why not ask another question? What if I learn to do this before my passing comes? If that is so, what are the prospects for me to do it even before? Now that my health is good, now that I am young, if that is so, why not? But I say to you, what is above, it is not Protestant. What is above is not Buddhist. What is above, it's not American Indian. It is not French. Sorry to say. It is not Irish. It is not American. It is not Chinese nor Japanese. It is not gypsy even. So you see, you don't have to be French. You don't have to even be Polish. You don't have to be Algerian. You don't even have to be Swiss. All those belong to flags. You just have to get straight with your mind what flags are for. And that stays here on earth. But it is the heart that is above. Haven't you ever wondered why all the babies that are born anywhere in this world, have you ever seen that their faces are clean? Have you ever seen that their faces are so clean? Their attitudes are so wonderful. They're so open and so receiving. And there's no effort. For they too were also adults too. But when a person passes away, they get thrown into the big washing machine, the big clothes washer, and they get tumbled dry very softly with kindness and softness and love. Another chance, another day, another opportunity, another moment, another year, another life. For creation never stops. What belongs to earth belongs to earth. Just understand the colors of your flag and the customs of those colors. And do not confuse yourself. But what belongs in your heart? Human beings will leave you. All human beings will leave you eventually. But you have time on your side, eternity. That you do have. No human being can understand you but your own Creator. And when a human being comes to terms with that fact, you begin to realize you begin to understand why it makes so much sense. Do not expect anybody to understand you at all, but you learn to understand everybody else. Do not expect people to help you at all, but you learn to help. Do not expect people to love you, but you learn to love others. Do not expect people to be kind to you at all, but you learn to be kind to others. It is only then that the medicine of peace, it is only then that the medicine of action, they start to speak as one language and not two. It is only then that the medicine of mind and heart start to speak as one language and not two tongues. It is only then that the medicine of your left hand and right leg and left leg, they speak as one and not two. It is only then that the medicine of your left brain and right brain, they begin to speak as one. And not two. Quietly, very slowly, quietly and very slowly. Quietly and very slowly, one's heart begins to shake. Quietly and very slowly, one's heart begins to shake. You see, in essence, life already is. It already has been created. It already is. The mountains have been put there already. The rivers running. Your sun, it already has been created. What are you chasing? What are you chasing? What are you chasing? What are you chasing? The hair has already been put on your head for some of you. The nose have already been put on your face. The brains have already been put there. The fingers have been put there. What are you chasing? And when the human being turns around, and the bubble has finally reached the heart. And you can see all the footprints that you have left behind. The tens and thousands of miles in the sand, in the snow, on the earth, and the ripples in the water. Tears, and yet somehow tears of joy, somehow tears of laughter and tears of sadness. And then the bubble passes the heart, and somehow it goes through that very thin neck of ours, and a very small word, a very tiny sound comes out. And when the bubble ascends even further, and somehow the inner eye awakens, and you see a light that you never have seen before, and yet you know the light. And when that bubble finally reaches the top of your head, and you see the tens and thousands of footprints left behind, and you look down, you bend that head, and you see your own feet, and you see how many shoes you have worn out and how many pairs of socks. You can feel the tiredness and the soreness of your feet. And how grateful it is to have knees and hips. And how grateful it is to have ankles that can bend. There's no one to your left and no one to your right, and there's no one in front of you. There's nothing behind you but your own footprints. And when that bubble opens up in the top of your head, no more blinded by mind, no more blinded by light, no more blinded by hurt, no more blinded by disappointment. But somehow, like releasing a breath, and with a humbleness and a very complete and unique respect, you let the sky come in. Somehow like water flowing into the top of your head. The sky is now in you. And then all those tens and thousands of years, all those human beings wondering what it is to be a bird, to fly. To change my DNA, to grow wings and feathers, or to become clever and design a motor and jet fuel, to build a propeller, to build paper wings. And yet with all these tens and thousands of airplanes, human beings are still in the same predicament as they were tens and thousands of years ago. It didn't do much of any good. For you see, the secret is to be humble enough, to be wise enough, to walk enough, to have the courage to look behind you and see the tens and thousands of footprints that you have left, and it was you who walked it and no one else. The bubbles of life, the bubbles of thought. For all planets and all moons are bubbles too. And all the drops that fall from the sky. And all the soap bubbles that children make. Bubbles. We are. Peace to your minds. Peace to your hearts. Peace. Peace. You did. Open up your eyes. was it? Waves? It's already going. Give me the... Boy, I'm really gone. I can't grab onto anything. I'm taking off so fast. I can't get the essence of what I was going to talk about. You know, when I speak to you personally, and so many people have such good questions, but usually the question should go to the audience, because that's everybody's good question. And sometimes I know what I'm going to talk about when I'm talking to you over here, and then I get up here and it's gone. So this one's gone. I don't know where that one is at. But there's this other one that it constantly comes up, and a lot of people are plagued by it. And that is your thoughts and how to deal with it. Your thoughts, if they are bothering you, you know, like when someone calls you up and bothers you, is annoying you, getting on you, they're bothering you. Some phone calls are wonderful. They don't bother you. Some phone calls, they're a nuisance. They're a nuisance. That means they really bother you. Okay? And as it is for thoughts, because most people, the way so many people have grown up, they've grown up by being a good friend, supposed to be a good student in school, or a good teacher, or a good policeman, or a good worker, or a good employer, or a good garbage collector, or a good mother, or a good daughter, or a good son. And after so many years of doing this, all of a sudden you begin to realize these thoughts in your head that they're just, you don't know where they're coming from. And sometimes the thoughts are bothering you because they're not so nice. And sometimes they're no big deal. You don't even see them. They come and go. You don't pay no attention to them. One of the best ways of, let's say, getting the thoughts that bother you is, first of all, just know very clearly your mind needs very good, clear pictures. Your mind needs very good and very clear pictures. And then you can work from there. Okay? So, life is a story. And if you turn everything into a story, you will take off like a rocket. But most people keep life in the world of comments. You understand what I mean by that? Comments. And most people exist. That is their universe. Comments. Another one is gossip. Another one is bored. Many different worlds. So they keep it under logic, reason, and things that usually annoy people, and there isn't much reality in it. But remember what it was like when you were young and your parents or your older brothers and sisters read a story to you, or you just finished a wonderful novel. The story, what it does, it's the story. And you start to find little gold nuggets of events, experiences, and maybe a little philosophy or a little logic in here, but it's the whole thing that matters. And your life is the whole story. You have to turn your life into, it's a story, people. It really is a beautiful story. It's a story. It's a real story. And it's just that people have devalued their life. They have too much guilt. They don't like themselves. They don't like their left foot. They don't like what they've done. They don't like this. And all this guilt, and they're too ashamed because they did this bad thing, or they had this bad thought, or they did this bad act. And so they have a lot of shame. And so all these things cover up their story, and pretty soon there's no story. So what do people do? The natural response is to go read somebody else's story. Oh, I like that. Ooh, I want that. I want that. I like that. That's nice. That is wonderful. That is wonderful. You look in the mirror, that's not nice. That's not a good story. No. No. So guess what? Your thoughts, all of a sudden, they get louder. They get much louder. Much louder. You could say the negativity starts to show its face much better. You know, minus negativity versus plus positiveness. The minus becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. And once you start to increase the minuses, increase the negativity, the natural phenomenon that goes with it is weight. Actual weight. You know, like my hand is light now, but now after having so much negativity, weight. So all these negative thoughts, feelings, as a result of inappropriate contemplation, inappropriate thinking, the weight starts to accumulate in the head. And it's kind of like in the earth, it's real funny how the earth is always kind of like shaking. You know, it really is. It's kind of like putting flour in a sifter, where you pick up the flour and you shake it and you get the pure flour, you know. And the earth does that with all the minerals, gold, oil, whatever. The earth is always shaking. Pretty soon the silver goes over there, and the nickel goes over there, and the gold goes over here, and the oil goes over here. Same thing with your thoughts. Because we're shaking all the time. We're standing on the earth, and the earth is shaking. That means we're shaking too. Our heart is blah, 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 blah. So our heart is shaking us. The neurons are, that's even shaking. And so all of a sudden we got all these thoughts, negative and positive, going in various places, you know? And pretty soon we have a conglomerate of thoughts that are negative over here because we've been shaking all day, we've been shaking all night, we've been shaking our whole lives, and pretty soon we got all these negative thoughts that have shaken themselves over here. And then there's a little pocket over here. Then there's a little pocket right here. And then there's another little pocket right there. But I'm positive too. So I got a pocket of positiveness here, positive here, positiveness over here, positiveness over here. But the problem is, if we have too much of the negativity, some people get brain cancer. It happens. They get some form of an illness, Alzheimer's disease, you know, because it's a collection. It's a collection. There's no blood going to that area. It gets heavy. It gets very, very heavy. Very heavy. Because of the weight. It accumulates, 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 accumulates. It's nothing more than Dust, as everybody knows, it accumulates. If you don't dust once a week, it accumulates. You'll see what happens in time. Maintenance. It's maintenance, 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 maintenance. The problem that so many people have with maintenance is that they don't want to work. Well, geez, I don't want to work. I just came back from work. Yeah, I don't want to work. I've worked all my whole life. I want to take a holiday. Well, guess what? You know what planet you're living on? No, you're living on France. That's the problem. Do you know what planet you're living on? No, you don't, because you're living in France. I don't want to work. I don't want to work. If I was in Germany, I would say the same thing. You know what the problem is? You don't know what planet you're living on. The problem is, your problem is that you're living in Germany. I don't want to work. And I find this the same problem everywhere. People, maintenance, because of the nature of this planet that we are living on, it requires maintenance every day. What happens when you don't take a shower every day? You can get by for sometimes 3-4 days. You know, you can get by. We all can. But what do you do when you're going to pick up your boyfriend or your girlfriend and you know? Stink or smell wonderful? That's your choice. You got to find out what is better for you. I would say do both. You really should. To really understand what maintenance is all about, you have to investigate this yourself to see what maintenance really does. Don't take a shower. And when you go to the bathroom, don't wipe yourself. Okay? Get yourself really stinking good. You're going to find out what maintenance is. And then go pick up that date. Yeah. Eh? And when the person starts to come close to you and then starts to back away, act real dumb and say, what's wrong? Is there a problem? Maintenance. Maintenance. We do it with our bodies and we have learned. Why? Also with your mind. It just is not something that we can see. The mind it's an invisible entity, you could say. And you just haven't learned to look at your mind. You live your mind. To do maintenance, you have to learn to look at your mind. Look at it. Look at it. It needs maintenance, like your body needs food. We all need some form of touch. We all need some form of communication. We can get by if we understand, but we pay a price if we isolate ourselves with illness of mind. Maintenance. 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 And no wonder as we start to shake all day and shake all night, and we can't get away from it. We can't, people. We're on earth. You may think France is here forever, but believe me, this continent is shifting around this earth. It's moving very fast. History absolves itself. It disappears. By countries, all civilizations eventually turn and change. Maintenance. Maintenance. How? Maintenance. Work. Work. When it comes to the mind, when it comes to practically anything on this planet, human beings have a nasty habit of letting things go, and they usually don't do anything about it unless they absolutely have to. It's a way human beings are. Until they absolutely have to. And you have this same habit too. And if you do this act of stinking, you get to see what it has done and how it has affected you, affected your relationship. It is the effects of seeing what maintenance does. Then one knows, one starts to understand, to get a very or better pictures of your mind and not just live it. Because there are people that don't bathe, very seldom, because they're just living. And it's just not something that of habit. You do it. When you really need to be clean, you do it. Do you understand what maintenance does? As it is for the mind. Every day, it's maintenance. Every day. Because as those heavy thoughts, as those negatives and the positives are shifting, going in certain areas of your brain, they start to dominate that area of your mind. It will start to dominate that area of your senses, of all the 5 senses. And then pretty soon, once it has built up so much weight, has dominated so much land, it's like a foreign invader. And pretty soon, it has weight and influence. And that's when the voices start to get louder. And once they reach a certain decibel, once they reach a certain frequency, it gets difficult. Your mind all of a sudden is difficult. And it's not so nice. So, good, clear pictures of your dilemma. You got to be much smarter than what you were taught about yourself. A thought. A thought is nothing but another person. A thought is just nothing but another radio station. That's all it is. A thought is just another person saying something. A thought is just nothing but an idea. A thought is just nothing but another picture. But when the thoughts gets loud, it penetrates your bones. It's hard to ignore it because it's loud. It has accumulated too much weight. It's built up enough energy where it's gotten louder in that area of your body. Okay, no, time for maintenance. First, you got to get good, clear pictures of this. And especially what a thought is. Because a thought is something, being that it comes from the internal, and it projects itself out. It's kind of like an explosion. An explosion goes in all directions. And as it is with a thought, it goes and explodes in all directions. And the problem is that human beings are not taught in school to understand thoughts and what they are. People believe the thought. People believe their thoughts. And they have identified totally and completely with their thoughts. So I think, so I am. As I think, I am. That's nonsense. It's ignorance, people. It's ignorance. I think, therefore I am. That's ignorance. But that's what people have been taught. So it is the total and complete association of the thought processes that they have identified with that has caused the problem. You are not your thoughts. You're not your thoughts. Sorry, but you're not. Even though they're positive.
So what
Oh.
are
How would you know? If you've been associated with nothing but your thoughts, how can you know anything else? You can't. You can't. You have to walk yourself out to know. Take yourself in the year 1642. I'm trying to explain a television to you. How are you going to know? How? Forget it. Television? Yeah, right. Same thing. Same thing, people. You have to walk yourself out. Same thing. Because what are you going to do? With your imagination and all these years associating, identifying yourself with the thought processes, what is the cycle of logic and reason? What is the cycle of imagination? The cycle of imagination, thought, and reason is to put out some form of a question, a curiosity, or a thought, and then let it run through the cycle of the brain, mind, body combination, and pretty soon you have a picture. Oh, that's what it must be. Oh, that's what it is. Oh, wait, let me get this paintbrush. Oh, wait, let me get this pencil. Oh, that's what it is. Oh, that's what it is. You're stuck with your own pencils. You're stuck with your own drawing. You're stuck with your own imagination. You can't get out. You see what I mean? Huh? Because the cycle is to imagine. The cycle is to reinvent. The cycle is to invent. The cycle is to know. The cycle is to question and then find the answer. The cycle is anything. Another thought, another thought, another. That's all they are, just thoughts. Caught. Goldfish. Goldfish in your goldfish bowl. You won't find the answer going around and around and around in your world. For all that is in the goldfish bowl is nothing but what's in the goldfish bowl, but what is outside the goldfish bowl. Can a goldfish know? can pretend all you want, but that's all you're doing. Be honest with the situation and don't let yourself fool yourself. If you don't know, you don't know. It's okay not to know. If thought is nothing but another person, is thought nothing but another concept, another idea, is thought is nothing more than just another radio station. Is thought just nothing more than another TV station? You know, just recently, in America, I got this phone call from this person whose brother had to leave America, go back to London, because the person was in trouble with their mind, because when the person would turn on TV, the person believed everything that was on the TV. Everything. Believed everything. And was doing everything the TV said. Is this really anything different? Is it really any different than identifying and believing your thoughts? No, it's not. It's just that people are a little more sane. We call that, we get by. We're not so believable. I believe it, but not so much. Just, okay, sometimes I do. Sometimes, but sometimes. Be smart with your mind. If a thought is nothing but a bubble, and whoever is the manufacturer, and where this manufacturing plant is, boy, would I like to find it. But if I cannot find it, I cannot find it. But I know that it produces bubbles right and left. Bubbles of many colors, bubbles of many weight, light and heavy, very, very light, and extremely heavy. Sometimes it is the weight of lead, and sometimes it is the weight of a feather. Sometimes it catches my attention, and sometimes I simply don't care. But when it is an explosion inside that gives me a headache, when it chases me down and gives me no room to play or to walk or to live my life, then I think it's time for maintenance with myself. If it's nothing but a radio station, let's see, stand up here, Reiner. Yeah, Martin. Stand with Reiner. Let me see. Let's see. I need French. Okay, French. Yeah. We're going to double. I'm making it double. Okay, it's one bubble. Okay. This is one bubble, but I want to add a little strength to it. Okay, so this is one bubble. Okay, this will be the positive. I'm sorry, but you're negative. Okay, the negative bubble and the positive bubble. Okay, tell me I'm good. I'm a good person. Tell me.
You're a good person.
No, you. No. In French. In French. In French. No, loud. Real loud. Tell me I'm a good person real loud.
Tu es une bonne personne. Tu es une bonne personne.
Keep telling me.
Tu es une bonne personne. Tu es une bonne personne. Tu es une bonne personne.
Oh.
Tu es une bonne personne.
Oh.
Tu es une bonne personne.
Keep telling. Come on.
Tu es une bonne personne. Tu es une bonne personne.
Oh. Keep telling me. Life is good. Life is so good. I feel so. Oh. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Oh, yes, you're... Loud, louder. I want the whole world to know. I want the whole world to know how wonderful I am. Oh, thank you. Tell me I'm a bad person.
You're bad.
Real loud.
You're so bad. You're so bad. You're a very bad person. And you know it. You're so bad.
Jesus Christ.
You're bad. You're such a bad person. So bad. Look at you. You're so bad. So bad. Bad person. So bad. So bad. Bad person.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, Jesus. I am wonderful. I am wonderful. I am so wonderful. I am bad. I'm bad. I'm bad. I'm bad. I am bad. I am bad. I'm 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 too bad. I'm too bad. I'm bad. No, I'm bad. I'm bad. I'm bad. No, I'm not. I'm bad. I'm bad. No. I'm bad. I'm bad. I even wrote it down. I'm bad. I'm bad. I am bad. I'm bad. I'm a bad. No, I'm bad. I am. No, I'm bad. I am bad. No, I'm bad. I'm bad. I'm bad. Then you must ask yourself, who is in the center? Between the minus and the plus. Between the speakers of minus and the speakers of plus. Between the manufacturing plant manufacturing minuses and negatives and the manufacturing plant manufacturing positiveness and pluses. Who is in the center? Ask yourself. You know the idea of positive thinking? Norman Vincent Peale came up with this a good concept and has helped a lot of people to do positive thinking, you know. And so a lot of people have been taught to get up in the morning and say, I'm a good person, I'm a good person, you're a winner, you're going to make it, you're beautiful, you're wonderful, you're fantastic, you know. And if you keep doing this, the positiveness builds up in the head and somehow you are supposed to get better, but that doesn't make you any better. It doesn't make you any better at all. You'll feel better. You'll inject yourself with a little sugar, but that's about it. Because what is in your foundation that already has built up weight? negatives over here, negatives over here, the land of negative here, but you got positive over here, and positive here, and positive here, and positive here. Who is in the center? Listening with both ears. And you have no control, people. There's no dial that turns this off. There's no dial that turns this on. Who is at the center?
So what can you do?
Don't ask. Who is at the center? Don't use your logic, people. You'll get lost. Don't use all your wonderful reasons. You will get lost. Stop your thinking. Who is at the center? Don't let another thought coming from over here or another thought coming from over here, because that's all they are, just thoughts, negative and positive, that's all they are. Who is at the center? How can a Westerner find it with only 20 years, 30 years, 60 years of living? With so much pain and hurt. How can one know? In the year 2001, how can one really know? In the year 2001, there's been over 20 billion years. Do you care enough to get the astronaut's view? Or stay close to the Berlin Wall? Do you care enough to know what the astronaut's view really looks like? Or to keep your face 3 centimeters away from the Berlin Wall? Who is at the center, listening to both sides? And if I am not, my thoughts. I'm not the positiveness, I'm not the negativeness. It's just a result of action, of having less harm, better parents or bad parents, good fortune or bad fortune, good days, days of storm, catastrophes, versus wonderful walks in the park. That's all they are. I was born with a love and a beauty on my face. I did not have to be taught the language, whether it is French or German. We were all born with the knowingness already in our eyes. And I had no need of a given name to be called by this or that. Who is at the center? For it truly takes an astronaut's view. And to care more for your life than what is positive and what is negative. It took billions of years in the making. It has an intelligence that is not French or German, that is not English, and it's not Indian. But do you care? Who is at the center? If I have a fever and I am ill, it is best not to think that I will get well in the next minute. If my mind is ill with a fever of corruption, jealousy, enviness, hatred, malice, do not expect your mind to get well in the next given minute. It takes years to get the illnesses out of your mind. Years. It is foolish to think it can be done in a weekend. It takes years. And to give yourself respect that very slowly, life changes. Maintenance is getting away from the Berlin Wall. You cannot see the dust anymore. Maintenance is getting away from your conditioning, from your habits, putting effort to fly high, to contemplate with a higher perspective, even though you're weighted down with negatives or positives. For you see, life somehow, it takes care of the illness, and sometimes we need good medicine. The medicine is your courage and your caring to fly higher with thought and to have patience. come down very slowly. If the negatives have not turned biologically into an illness, the voices, the decibels can be lower. Day by day, they will turn themselves lower and lower, more quieter, slowly, day by day. Just don't give up. But don't identify with the negatives or the positives. That's all they are. Okay. Yeah, battery. We'll take the battery is dead. We'll take a break.